Wow.
Wenn jetzt ein Cinematic kommt, mache ich Fullscreen. Fuck it. Vielleicht auch doch nicht. Ich dachte, das ist ein neues Cinematic, aber es sieht aus, als wären das Dings dann. Einfach nur so ein Recap. Ja, für nichts anderes. Nein, nicht Horde. Neue spielbare Rasse Murlocs. Confirmed. Dragonflight? Also es ist schon pretty much geleakt und es wird wahrscheinlich auch Dragonflight sein, oder? Außer die waren richtig Five-Head.
Hi everyone, I'm
Ach,
John
komm, fuck
Haidt,
it.
General Manager for Warcraft, and with me today are my friends Ian Hazakostas, who is the Game Director for World of Warcraft, and Holly Longdale, who leads up the production team for WoW Classic. I really appreciate you
Expansion
tuning
review
in.
for post.
I know we're really excited to be able to give updates on what's happening in World of Warcraft. But first, I want to thank our community for all the feedback you've given us this year, and especially our community council who've helped shape and influence the updates that we've done recently and what you're going to see in the upcoming year.
Ich warte nur die Werbung gerade ab. Und ich kriege kein Geld von dieser Firma, um zu sagen, okay, ich werbe für die.
And us realizing as a team that we just collectively needed to do a better job of making sure the community felt heard. And so that led us to the changes we made in 9.1.5, but also really re-examining some of the assumptions and foundations of World of Warcraft about things like character investment and mains versus alts, or how catch-up should work, or the appropriate role of friction in our systems. And I think 9.1.5 represented a step in the direction of letting players have more freedom to play World of Warcraft the way they want to play.
Ich habe das Gefühl, das ist einfach nur
and
so
we really
ein
built our Eternity's End content update from the
Zucker in
ground
den
up
Arsch pusten,
around
damit die
those
Leute glücklich sind und ein bisschen quatschen und dann warten die alles und dann kaufen alle und dann ist es einfach das Gleiche wieder.
Things like the method and pacing of acquisition of the Covenant Legendary item, tons of tuning, and I think every step of the way, we were listening to make sure that we were carrying forward those lessons learned in the course of 9.1.5 into Eternity's End and beyond.
So WoW Classic came about because of the community.
Yeah, they continue to help guide and support us as Classic evolves.
World of Warcraft has always been about the world
Alter,
and the
das Schild
players that
hinten.
inhabit it. And
Cool.
we are in a lot of ways curators and caretakers of that journey and of that experience. And so once this Classic community formed and grew, we had to listen to them.
It's this tide of listening to the community and
Listening,
yeah,
listening.
for our players now.
Wir brauchen einen Counter für
where
Listening.
we really saw a sea change in this idea is with our Season of Mastery realm, which is a Season of Fresh Start Classic. And initially we were talking about it like
Alle
it was
listen,
going
alle
to
sind
be
am
like a
Listening,
fresh
alle
start.
sind am
Let's
Listening.
try this experiment in a season. It'll be about a year long. And then when the community found out about it, we started seeing this upswell.
Yeah, the team just took that idea and ran with it and turned, what started out as a small community project into this Soul of Iron system that became a centerpiece of Season of Mastery and a whole new opt-in hardcore mode that we've seen communities built around. Lots of, thrilling victory and painful defeat.
5 hours. I made it 5 hours.
Yeah. And it continues, like Burning Crusade Classic. We wanted to balance the Paladin seals between Horde and Alliance, so we made an addition there. We wouldn't have gotten there without the community's input.
So, influence the community, you've got another update and pretty significant controversial change.
Alter, hat der Plastikzähne.
Cross-faction play coming in 9.2.5. Which is on our public test realm now as a big centerpiece.
Cross-faction. You're breaking with a 17-year tradition.
Endlich, endlich, Alter.
Made decision by any means.
Endlich.
I think this is another one of those areas where really we try to take to heart community feedback and requests and ask ourselves as a team whether there's a way to accommodate such an earnestly held desire and still feel like we're being true to the roots of the game.
Du kannst trotzdem Faction, Identity und Fantasy pushen und das geht alles trotzdem.
even though their raid group is elsewhere.
It's really important for me. I play a lot of alts and I love absorbing.
Du spielst dann mit ein paar anderen Leuten oder so und du machst dir den Charakter, der dir gefällt. Machst einen Ork oder so, Ende. Oder einen Menschen, scheißegal.
At the end of the day, the battle cry is for the Horde. It's not against the Alliance. It's not death to the Alliance. It's about pride in one's faction. And I think there's a way to preserve that and even strengthen that while giving players the ability to make the same choice we've seen the greatest heroes make time and time again.
I can't wait to do this. I'm seeing a lot of my friends that I never knew had a max level character in the other faction suddenly come out of the woodwork.
And then, with these cross-faction groups, many of them are going to be diving into something new that we're doing to kind of cap off Shadowlands, a Season 4. Kind of a remix
ich hoffe ja echt,
of a bit of a greatest hits, revisiting
dass das mit dem Dungeon-Tool funktioniert. Nicht mit dem Dungeon-Tool, sondern mit dem LFG-Tool halt. Dass man da ordentlich die Möglichkeit hat, den Gruppen zu joinen. Weil wenn das echt so ist, dass es nicht geht, dann wäre das schon scheiße, ganz ehrlich.
To Shadowlands. As everyone gets ready for what happens next, what will come next, want to give, a fun new challenge for everyone to sink their teeth into.
Really cool stuff for modern WoW players. I'm super excited about the gear upgrades that you're going to give me and the chance to go back and play some of those awesome raids.
There's a lot to explore. Very exciting.
For our next adventure in World of Warcraft, we're going to go back to Azeroth. We're going to a space with high fantasy. I mean, our fans have asked for this for a long time. This has been kind of the foundation of much of the lore of WoW. So, without further ado, let's watch the cinematic.
Oh! Echt? Das Cinematic? Not bad, not bad. Ich liebe Warcraft. Ich wünschte, ich könnte das spielen, Alter. 10,000 years ago.
The world has been sundered. It cries out in pain.
Der Malstrom.
We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home to you.
Oder?
Watchers. Let the land slumber, hidden even from our own eyes. You will feel our return in the waking of the land. Then, you must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever.
Cinematics sind immer gut. Das ist egal, ob man das Game noch spielt oder nicht. Die Cinematics von WoW sind immer gut. $10.000 Jahre Nap im Stehen, easy. Mach ich auch immer. Oh, he dead, bro. Das war ein Powernap, ja. Wenn nicht das, dann was? Riso, wenn du Bock hast, join den Dings-Channel. Falls du nicht schreiben möchtest. Ah, dann hörst du alles doppelt, ne? Ja, also wie du willst. Dem fehlt ein Stück Kopf, dem fehlt ein Stück Gesicht. Das ist jetzt nicht Mother, das ist Father. F-A-T-H-E-R. Also F.A.T.H.E.R. Bin gespannt, was das gerade ist, das dieses Beben verursacht. Ist es halt Shadowlands und das Zerreißen des Veils? Big Daddy auch down. Bin gleich weg, alles klar. Stone und Nietzsche, Alter. Gibt Gummi. Bin ja gespannt, was das Release-Datum angeht. Nein! Er wird gefangen von einem wunderschönen Vogel. Sag ich doch. Das ist das gleiche, oder? Aspect power confirmed. Choose your aspect.
Is healing, but her fate is yet uncertain. Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
Okay, also waren die Leaks richtig, Dragonflight. Der Hintergrund sieht mal auch endlich anders aus. So gut aus.
Dragons!
Dragons!
This is so cool.
No one saw it coming.
No one saw it coming. Definitely kept secret. But seriously, I mean, what did we just see there?
The awakening of the Dragon Isles, the return of dragons, the dawn of a new age. Right, we've seen Rathian searching for his father's legacy, searching for the Dragon Isles. There's a reason why he hasn't been able to find them until now.
The beacon going off, is that summoning the dragons?
It is removing the concealment that had hidden the Dragon Isles from the world, but also beckoning the dragons back urgently in a time of need.
I assume pretty good variety of locales within the Dragon Isles?
Yes, the Dragon Isles, as kind of standard for WoW expansion, consist of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone that we'll get to in a second.
Can you talk a little bit about how the team found ways to thread the dragon aspects throughout the environments?
The
Eine
Dragon
neue
Isles are a
Starting
place
Zone
that
mit
is
einem wirklichen
lush,
neuer
primal, bursting with
mit
elemental
einer
energy
neuer
as Azeroth herself
Player
reawakens.
Experience für
Those
neue Spieler,
primal
die
forces are expressed throughout the environment,
kontrolliert
whether
ist und nicht dieser
magma activity, volcanic
Clusterfuck
activity,
ist, der gerade da
there's
ist.
the icy wastes
Wäre
of the
echt
Azure
gesund für
Sand.
WoW.
And each one of those has a connection to a Dragonflight that we've seen before. And it's going to be an amazing place for players to arrive at and explore.
All right, you know I'm going to ask.
Yes, okay, so
Can I be a dragon?
let's start getting into some features here.
Bitte
what
nicht.
Dragonflight means
Bitte
for you
nicht.
as well as just a place.
Bitte ist nicht dieser
first
League
off,
echt.
Yes, we have an all-new playable race, the Drakthir race.
Yeah.
This is a dragon
Doch,
draconic
nein.
race, but dragons in Warcraft have the ability to take on a humanoid form.
What classes can they be?
They have unique abilities as literally a dragon. That doesn't quite fit any of our existing classes. And so what we're doing is this is not just a new race, but it's also a new class. You know, adding a new race to World of Warcraft and not just an allied race is something that we don't do lightly, but telling this expansion, this story so focused around dragons felt like the perfect time for it. So if you are a Drakthir, you will be the Evoker class. Drakthir can only be Evokers, Evokers can only be Drakthir. And the reason why only a Drakthir could be an Evoker is that an Evoker is really combining.
Wenn diese Leaks echt sind, dann kann auch das Release-Datum vom November echt sein. Denn es wurde geleakt, zusammen mit dieser ganzen Evoker-Sache, dass das Add-on im November rauskommen soll. Es klingt übertrieben, aber das war halt zusammen.
The Evoker has 2 specializations. They're a hybrid of either range DPS or healer. And they wear male armor. We figured, you know,
Schade, kein Dings, kein Tank.
Enough melee, we don't need more of those. And also
Echt jetzt?
Raid leaders are going to love you for that.
Exactly. This is definitely a hero class. And so that means that, you know, like the Death Knights before them or Demon
Fucking
Hunters, they'll be
Werbung.
starting level 58, and then they're going to have a new starter zone. So they're going to have a slightly different journey
Danke,
into the
Philipp.
Dragon Isles as opposed to the rest of us that are sailing there from other parts of Azeroth.
Can you talk a little bit about the customizations? Like what is going to be able to identify my Dracthyr character?
Basically anything and everything. You know, skin color, hair color, jewelry, tattoos, other adornments. You can make this character the expression of your identity in Azeroth.
Klingt gut.
New zone, new
Neues
class,
WoW-Add-on wird
new race. Tell us about
announced.
some of the system updates or features.
So, of course, the new expansion brings with it, you know, new systems, new features. I think in recent expansions, one of the things we've tended to do is really have these features that were closely tied to a specific expansion that would then get left behind as we moved on. And we've heard loud and clear from players that, you know, it's kind of a bummer to start off every new expansion by leaving a large part of your character behind, by leaving a large part of your progression behind. So this time around, what we're doing is really pouring all of our energy into permanent revamps, overhauls, and improvements to World of Warcraft's core systems. Things like our progression systems, in this case, our talent system is something that we want to completely revamp. We want to take a look at our UI. We want to take a look at professions.
So with the talent revamp and the arrival of Classic, did you learn anything about how our talents work?
I think seeing a new generation of players play with those talents and work through those talent trees really underscored some of the things that, frankly, we lost when we shifted to the Mists of Pandaria style talents and beyond. A big piece of that was some of just the granularity.
Typischer fucking Blizzard-Move. Feature entfernen, um es dann wieder reinzufügen, damit es als neu verkauft wird, ey.
But also, you know, that sense of hybridity that you could have. That's something that we've largely lost. And so the new talent system
ich hab's grad leise gemacht, aber jetzt mach ich dich grad wieder lauter.
Player power throughput choices directly against those sort of utility hybrid choices, because we know
jetzt bist du wieder voll laut, Alter.
And we also understand that, you know, there's a lot of strength
ja, dann mach jetzt leise, ich lass dich jetzt.
Talent system to let players customize their talents for a particular encounter or for dungeons versus PvP, and we don't want to lose any of that.
So John, UI?
Oh my God. Yes, I got this 30-inch monitor trying to keep track of where I am on the map, all my buffs, and over here, what's going on in chat. It has literally made my eyes go like this. So,
you're not alone in that. We've made a lot of incremental changes and additions over the years, but really this is a revamp, this is an overhaul. And so we're excited to really modernize the look and feel while staying true to the origins of World of Warcraft. Now at the same time, we're not looking to take away the sort of power user customization there. Add-ons are still there if you want them. But we want a much better default out-of-the-box experience for all players, new and old.
And can I reduce elements, remove elements, if I want to explore the world and see the beauty of Azeroth?
Endlich, wow!
When it comes to specific elements, as much as possible, let players choose what to show and what to hide so that they can control it themselves.
You mentioned professions. I have a critical question about this.
Go on.
Can I wear a chef's hat?
Yeah, I knew it.
Our approach to professions in Dragonflight is really all about delivering on fantasy and identity as a crafter. And so, if you want to be a serious blacksmith, if you want to be a great leather worker, you want to deliver the ability to invest time and energy into that, become a master crafter, be able to make items that are in demand, interact with the community. One of the big pieces that we want to do to support that is a new work order system to have a bit more convenience than just spamming trade chat all day. But if you are
die erzählen die erzählen, dass du so ein bisschen deine Klassenfantasie pushen kannst. Halt mit Talentsystem und jetzt aber auch mit Berufen. Nur das Ding ist,
I think we left out one thing, though.
Das hat Blizzard schon oft erzählt.
Go to Dragon Isles. Can I have a dragon?
What's the fantasy of dragons, if not soaring over the lands? And so we're really excited to introduce a feature that we're calling dragon riding. It's dynamic with, you know, everything from momentum to dive bombs, the ability to, you know, just build that speed up and feel the world rushing
Ganz rechts ist der WoW Blizzard Lead Designer, glaube ich, von ganzen Game. Mitte ist, glaube ich, das gleiche nur für UI und nicht das gesamte Game, also für Interface. Und die links ist, glaube ich, für Classic zuständig. Aber man kann jetzt, man wird Drachen lernen zu fliegen, also anders als einfach nur fliegen, sondern halt mit so Speed Boosts und sowas. Aber ob das gut ist, naja.
Is of course very thoroughly customizable, which is a new thing for
customizable mounts. Okay, cool.
Not just a generic dragon that everyone has, but a Drake that is yours.
Ach, cool.
What do you want its scales to
Mega
look like?
cool.
Horns, the shape of its head, other
Nice.
attachments, armor pieces,
Richtig
and more.
customizable Drachen.
This is so cool.
Eigenes Maus. Cool.
So the
Mega
Dragonflight
cool.
expansion is going to see players leveling to 70, going to the all-new continent of the Dragon Isles, which consists of 5 zones, 4 standard leveling zones, and a new starter zone for our Drakthir class, as well as a range of systems revamps, such as a new talent system, an overhaul and update to our UI, and an entirely fresh look at professions with more depth than ever before. Also getting around the Dragon Isles is going to come in the form of Dragon Riding, which lets you customize and upgrade your own mount. So
Warte, wird man als neue Drachenrasse einen Drachen fliegen? Bisschen dumm. Wieso fliege ich nicht aber selbst?
We also have an alpha that will be starting up in the future.
Check out our website for more information. And
Ja, okay, RIP. Niemals November. Nein.
Test out Dragonflight and give us even more.
Wir werden kein Release-Date geben.
We do have a deep dive that follows this, so please
Kann man
stay
den Namen
around.
von seinem
Classic players, we haven't
Twitch-Account
forgotten
ändern?
about
Ja, ne?
you.
Doch.
You could probably guess where we're
hier.
going to go next.
Da.
One of the all-time favorite expansions for World of Warcraft.
Wrath of the Lich King. Ja.
Mein Anzeigename ist ein bisschen unpraktisch.
Haben die neues Cinematic gemacht für Classic? Niemals. Für Wrath of the Lich King?
Das ziehe ich mir rein.
Was? Gänsehaut. Ne, okay, es ist so ein. Ich glaube, es ist eher so ein bisschen lower Level.
Das steht bestimmt einfach nur World of Warcraft.
Ne, also, ich sehe gerade, wie. Ich glaube, Frostmourne wird zusammengebaut wieder. Weil er im Prinzip schon tot ist, richtig. Sein Schwert wurde zerstört und in Stücke gesplittert und es ist gerade halt so rückwärts sozusagen. Weißt du, wie ich meine? Und das Schwert fällt gerade wieder zusammen. Und dann wird, glaube ich, einfach der World of Warcraft, The Wrath of the Lich King verstehen.
The day you were born, the very
Force
forests
of
of
Lord,
Lordaeron
whisper the name. Arthas. Gott.
Arthas.
Ja, okay. Das sag ich ja, nicht Full-Fledged Cinematics am Anfang, das ist ein bisschen Low-Level. Oder Lower-Level.
When my days have come to an end.
Ja, Lich King fand ich immer geil, ey.
Shall be king.
Ach, das geht schon dieses Jahr los, okay. Bin gespannt, ob die danach noch weiter werden machen mit Cataclysm oder nicht.
I see the cinematic, I get chills. No pun intended, I get chills. As you saw, Wrath of the Lich King Classic is coming this year. It brings back so many
Nein, das war leider nicht geplant,
When you
Rese.
see
Sorry, dass ich
that
das so spät lese.
cinematic, what do you remember from Wrath of the Lich King?
Okay, Classic interessiert mich nicht so sehr. Also ich finde,
als hätten die keinen Bock da zu sein, ey.
nee, das würde ich nicht. Aber alles, was die gesagt haben, was das Dings da angeht, was das neue WoW-Add-on angeht, sind Dinge, die sie bereits irgendwo mal schon genauso gesagt haben und dann waren sie doch nur so halb oder nicht so richtig. Berufe werden wichtiger gemacht, Klassen und Spezialisierung und Class Identity sozusagen in den Vordergrund schieben und all so ein Scheiß.
Wer weiß, vielleicht tritt den Microsoft mal endlich in den Arsch. Mit sie aber
Weiß ich, mal gucken. Ich warte, bis das Addon raus ist und dann gucke ich mir das erst an und dann hole ich es mir, weil ich vertraue denen nicht mehr. Sorry, aber dass die sich halt an solchen paar Dingen nehmen und machen halt von wegen, dass die sagen, Talentsystem, also ich meine, die nehmen Talentbäume weg, um dann wieder Talentbäume einzuführen und sagen jetzt, wow, guck mal, Talentbäume, so, weißt du, das ist ein typischer Blizzard-Move. Und dass sie jetzt sagen halt, ne, dass sie ein bisschen weggehen von den Systemen und versuchen, die Core-Abilities so ein bisschen in den Vordergrund zu bringen, ist halt eine Sache, die mega cool ist, aber die wieder nicht ewig währt, weil du kannst nicht ewig die Talentbäume erweitern und ewig den Leuten neue Talente geben. Das heißt, nächstes Addon wird wieder was Neues kommen. Entweder der Talentsystem wird komplett geändert oder wir adden eine neue Reihe, das kannst du aber wieder nicht unendlich machen, oder es wird ein neues System, also die spielen sich halt leider wieder in die Ecke damit, aber mal sehen.
Not wanting necessarily a random participant just to show up and then leave. Yep. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Mal sehen, einfach abwarten.
You can do that in Shadowlands. You'll be able to do that in Dragonflight. It's a self-selected group of people who specifically want that different experience.
Yes.
Let's make sure that's what we continue to give them.
Und das mit dem Drachenfliegen ist halt so ein bisschen... Scheint einfach nur wie so ein Mount halt mit diesen Spezialfähigkeiten, ne? Wie so ein Vehikel. Und das die benutzt man dann halt, während man fliegt. Und das, finde ich, fühlt sich immer schlechter an, als ein eigenes Mount zu fliegen. Vielleicht kriegen die das so hin, dass es sich gut anfühlt, aber... Mal sehen.
Das Spiel überhaupt noch?
Hä?
Sagt ihr das Spiel überhaupt noch?
WoW? Nein, schon seit fast 2 Jahren nicht mehr.
Man, da guckst du die ganze Zeit, verfolgst einfach nur die Entwicklung, oder was?
Ja, ich gucke halt ein bisschen auf Reddit und guck, was hier abgeht. Also Expansion Reveals, oder ist klar, das wird jeder, der irgendwann mal gespielt hat, wird sich das irgendwie mal ansehen, aber ich habe halt Hoffnung, dass ich das Game halt wieder Bock hätte zu spielen, aber ich sehe es einfach nicht passieren, so blöd das klingt.
So, Wrath. The level cap's being increased to level 80, so we'll be introducing a level 70 boost so that players who
Läuft das Stream? Hast du irgendwelche Probleme noch, oder?
Nein, zum Glück nicht. Zum Glück nicht. 1 und 1 hat er geregelt. Vielen Dank, Kabel Deutschland, auf Nummer Wiedersehen. / Vodafone.
Einfach nur einen richtigen Techniker schieben müssen, ist unglaublich.
We're going to be looking to getting a lot more feedback on beta, and we'll make changes as we need to.
Such an exciting time to be playing World of Warcraft. We have the return of the Wrath of the Lich King for classic fans, and
schade, kein Datum für Dragonflight. Wenn die Alpha erst bald kommen soll, dann wird das nochmal ein halbes Jahr dauern, dann kommt die Beta wahrscheinlich nochmal ein halbes Jahr. Wahrscheinlich noch länger, oder? Ich glaube schon.
And we'll see you in Northrend.
And in the Dragon Isles.
Deep Dive starts soon, was die halt echt... Ich starts now, ne?
Hi there, welcome to the Dragonflight Deep Dive. I'm Steve Denuser.
And I'm Taryn Gregory. Starting it off here, we're going to talk about the setting and the story of Dragonflight.
We've got this great expansion, exciting pre-rendered trailer.
Das ist der Typ, den jeder hatet, gerade wegen Shadowlands.
Setting for Dragonflight, the Dragon Isles.
Dragon Isles have been known for a long time.
Ja, also die Story von Shadowlands war, finde ich, echt. Das, was du im WoW gesehen hast, war echt schlecht und er wird halt echt gehatet überall. Der Rechte, der ist der Lead Lore Designer oder wie man auch das nennt. Aber der ist halt für die Geschichte zuständig sozusagen.
But when the Legion invaded for that War of the Ancients, that sundering that resulted from the explosion of the Well of Eternity,
literal sundering of the continents of Azeroth.
And because of the breaking of the world, that magic kind of drained away and the land went dormant. So they had to leave the Dragon Isles behind. And as we saw in the pre-render, they left behind some Titan Watchers to look over the land, and when someday they hoped that elemental energy would resurge once again and draw the dragons home and reestablish their kingdom.
And that's when the message goes out to the flights and they feel it in their bones.
Now it's the time for the sky to light up with the colors of the aspects once again, and for Alex Straza and the others to come home. But the land has changed a lot in all these thousands of years they've been away, and some very old threats have awakened as well.
We're looking into the culture of dragons as they exist in Warcraft.
Dragons as we know them today were very different in the early past, the early history of Azeroth. They were much more primitive, much more savage, what we now know as proto-dragons.
And then some of the dragons were empowered to become the aspects. The green flight, red flight, blue flight, bronze flight, black flight, each with unique
Schade, dass sie jetzt mit Lore weitermachen. Ich hätte gerne was zum Game gesehen selbst.
These pillars of draconic power appointed to defend Azeroth from threats within and without.
Dragons used that power both for good, in the case of most of the aspects, but also for nefarious reasons, in the case of the Black Dragonflight, led by Neltharion, who would become Deathwing.
And what we will find in Dragonflight is that some of these ancient divisions run deep. And so it begs the question, where do we go from here? If this is an opportunity to reclaim their legacy,
ich will auch so einen Portstein in meinem Zimmer.
That they once were.
To do that, they're going to need
richtig geil. Das Ding, was da hinten steht und leuchtet, richtig gut.
With them and face some of these reawakening challenges, because it's not just that this land is peacefully waiting for the dragons to return and reclaim it. There's those old enemies that have awakened as well.
Yeah.
One of those being a race of kind of elemental half-giants, the Jarden.
The Dragon Isles isn't just populated by dragons or just by the Jarden. There's also many other occupants here in the Dragon Isles that have been here either just recently or for a while, including a fan favorite coming back, the Tuskar.
That's going to be awesome. We've got other cultures there as well in the Dragon Isles. We're going to find out about a civilization of centaurs that predates the ones that arose on Kalimdor much later.
And some of our favorite characters that we've seen over the last few expansions, such as Rathian.
And whether he's ready to step up into a leadership role, or if there are other alternatives out there that would be better suited to the job of being the aspect of the Black Dragonflight.
I think one thing the players are going to be really excited about this expansion is the new playable race, the Drakthir.
That's right.
And this is something that Neltharion, before he was Deathwing, before he went full crazy world dragon, that he put into motion.
Neltharion saw those primalists that were kind of breaking away.
Ich finde es schade, dass, also ich glaube nicht, dass es so kommt, aber ich finde es schade, dass wenn du wirklich diese Drachenrasse spielst, dass du dann halt nicht wirklich als Drache fliegst. Also ich kann mir nicht vorstellen, dass das passiert.
Du musst als Drachenfigur dann auf einen Drachen.
Ich glaube ja. Und das
das ist echt bescheuert.
Ich glaube ja.
Exploration is really one of the key themes of this expansion. We're going to be going to this ancient place.
Ja, finde ich auch. Bisschen wack.
So we've made these huge zones with all kinds of places to delve into and find little treasures and little secrets tucked away. It's going to be a lot of fun for players to be exploring these landscapes.
And there's so much architectural history and how clearly aspirational was the kingdom of the dragons and how it lost so much. And the theme of trying to return to that, to try to find your legacy, to try to figure out who you were before everything went awry. But there's questions, you know, thematic questions of what does it mean to be true to your legacy? Are we going to repeat the mistakes of the past?
The dragons have had to learn those lessons just like the mortal kingdoms have had to. And I think that's one of the reasons why the dragons see this now as the time that they have to return and they have to step up once again as protectors of Azeroth. We're helping the dragons because the dragons have helped us in the past too. So by using the Explorers League and the Reliquary together, that allows us to delve into some of that history.
And when I look, you know, upon the Dragon Isles and all of its visual splendor, I get so excited for the prospect of a truly Azerothian adventure alongside Calicos, along with Rathian, Ebonhorn, with Ysera's daughter Marithra, as each one of them is trying to find their own flights. I am taken by the exploration and the potential for adventure and just new horizons within this world.
There's going to be old stories from that time past, that history that only the dragons knew for the longest time. We're going to be able to explore that.
It really feels like just a breath of fresh air.
So now we're going to turn things over to some of our colleagues who will take you on that deep dive into the locations and the features of Dragonflight.
Ja, danke. Sag mir bitte nicht, dass wenn du eine Drachenrasse spielst, dass du nicht auf Drachen reiten musst.
And we're part of the teams that are building the first two zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Onaran Plains. The very first zone in Dragonflight you're going to come to is the Waking Shores. It's wild, untamed land. It's waking up around you too, and the elements are just going crazy.
The art team again has hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a lava mountain flowing in through the beach, giant proto-dragons swooping down, gobbling up members of your expedition.
We have such rife opportunities to show elementals rising up because of the crazy magic that's flying around.
The one of the things I love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're gonna get on your boat in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and the first thing you do is sail between like the dragon ruin architectures. The boats come right alongside each other. You can jump from one boat to the other and just start causing havoc on the other faction's boat.
For those who love PvP, this is a great opportunity for War Mode.
It's free for all out there. It's gonna be great. But it's okay. There's an innkeeper on the beach so that if you're in that situation and you don't want to be in War Mode anymore, you can just hop out right there.
The Reliquary and the Explorers League are working together.
The Horde and Alliance are sending an expedition together. It's not the military, it's not the soldiers. This is the scientists, the settlers, exploring this new land. So it's a lot more optimistic tone.
One of my favorite things about the Waking Shores is the Red Dragonflight, led by Queen Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder. They have the mandate of nurturing and protecting all life, which means Horde and Alliance, Gorloks, trolls, everybody. So they take that duty seriously. When the Horde and the Alliance come to the Waking Shores, they want to be there to help guide the people through the new land and welcome them. But they're not the only one in the Waking Shores.
We have the ancestral home of the Black Dragonflight there too, which has fallen on tough times since Deathwing's descent. And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles with us, and he's gonna try and come to terms with the state of the Dragonflight, which is a few loyal Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground. What can the future of the Dragonflight be if it's just Rathian? Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the Jarden.
I love the Jardins so much. They're giants that wield the power of magma, and when the Waking Shores and the Dragon Isles went to slumber, they also slumbered. They're back now, and they are ready to raise chaos.
Irgendwie habe ich das komische Gefühl, dass diese Evokers fucking overpowered werden.
Parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were the enemies of the Dragonflight for so long. They fought against the Red Dragonflight, hunted dragons down, and they're really taking this opportunity to rise up. As the Red Dragonflight have the mandate of nurturing life, they don't want to just
Was mich gerade so ein bisschen irritiert und stört, ist die Tatsache, dass sie da sitzen und sich gegenseitig die Story erklären, während sie alle die Story eigentlich schon kennen und so zustimmen und sagen, und als ob sie sozusagen das erste Mal hören, und statt sozusagen ein bisschen in die Kamera zu reden und das den Leuten zu erklären. Wisst ihr, wie ich meine? Also das finde ich so ein bisschen komisch, awkward.
They can figure it out, they can fly.
You should be proud. Thank you.
It's gonna be awesome.
The Onaran Plains come right after the Waking Shores. It's so breathtaking at first glance.
The Onaran Plains are big, wide open plains. And the player is going to be constricted a little bit. And then you see this big contrast of a zone. We don't always get that opportunity
Grizzly Hills, bisschen Kombi.
where the player can have a framed view when they see this area.
Come out and you got that postcard shot of the plains. And then you see this giant fire proto-dragon breathing fire, and a herd of centaur like harpoon down the proto-dragon and crash into the ground. And the first thing you get to do is go help them kill the proto-dragon. Like, how cool is that?
Who is Onara?
Onara is the wild god of the wind. And she's appeared before as like this big spirit eagle.
Wieso hat das so wenig FPS?
Guided the centaur to the Dragon Isles.
Ach so, der Mensch sieht nur 24.
She blessed them, took their caravan across, and then showed them the plains.
How fun at the beginning of this expansion was exploring the culture of the centaur.
The centaur are these mighty, awesome hunters that back when they first came to the Dragon Isles, they fought the green dragons all day long. Eventually, they realized that we're strong, you're strong. Maybe we should stop decimating each other's people. We'll make peace, we'll make an agreement. You guys hang out in the groves, and the centaur will hang out in the plains. But now, the dragons have been gone for 10,000 years. And the centaur have come so far since then. And they've been here, and they've been existing and developing their culture. They all came over as one clan led by the mighty Maruk and Tira, and they founded a new life here. So if you want to get across, you have to follow their rules and their traditions. You have to earn their trust. You are the first outsiders to come in generations upon generations. The centaur might rule the open plains, but the green dragons make their home in the groves. And those groves are absolutely gorgeous.
And how great a job it is that we have where I can take all of this beautiful artwork and build these beautiful fantasy groves, high fantasy.
Sorry, aber die sehen, klar, ne, du kannst halt nur so viel verschiedene Dinge machen, aber es sieht halt alles schon aus wie etwas, das es schon gegeben hat. Hier Nagrand oder Grizzly Hills oder das, wie ich weiß nicht, wie das Gebiet oben in BFA, der Allianzseite hieß. Stormbrew, irgendwas, weiß ich gerade nicht.
It spurs you on to want to adventure and look through the zone and explore everything.
The interesting thing for me is we have all these conflicts.
Das andere sah so ein bisschen aus wie der Nightfey-Wald. Ist klar, ne? Du kannst halt nur endlich viel verschiedene Themes einführen, aber ich glaube, da wäre sehr viel mehr möglich gewesen. Also, ich weiß nicht. Vor allem mit Shadowlands hatten die Chance dazu, wirklich vielleicht abstrakte Gebiete zu erstellen, die einfach mal was ganz anderes sind, ne? Einfach, keine Ahnung, irgendwie so ein...
Hello everyone, my name is Kate.
Ich weiß nicht, wie ich es mir vorstellen soll. ein Space-Gebiet vielleicht oder halt, ne, irgendwie so ein bisschen halt abstrakter, was ein bisschen so Richtung Tod geht, weil so viele Möglichkeiten gehabt oder halt Himmel eben, ne? Himmel, Hölle. Man hätte so ausrasten können weil alles keinen physikalischen Sinn mehr ergeben muss. Und trotzdem hat es da physikalischen Sinn ergeben. Und jetzt kommen die wieder zu einem Add-on, wo es Physik halt geben muss. Und es wäre halt so eine nette Abwechslung gewesen. Und so hast du halt immer wieder das Gleiche, leider. BFA, wie hieß das? Ich hab schon den ganzen... Ich hab alles schon vergessen, was Shadowlands angeht, ey. Ja, aber in Northland gibt's 20 Gebiete, die so aussehen und stellen.
We have a small group that lives there called the Gnolls. These gnolls are all throughout the forest and Azure Span. They've made this their home. Some gnolls with strange magic that we're going to find out what exactly that's about. Snow gnolls, or as I call them, the snolls, up in the winter area. And then some regular gnolls that are just going to be around the forest area. So then we go into the big open tundra where we meet our second group, the Tuskar.
Ja, das Gebiet gibt's auch in Northland.
And those kids are adorable. I absolutely love the Tuskar. Honestly, all my downtime's probably just me hanging out with the Tuskar.
So it's been a little while since we've seen them. We remember the Tuskar from Wrath of the Lich King. They're also getting a nice, cool up-res for their models, along with expanding their culture. So there are going to be male Tuskar, female Tuskar kids. So we're going to fight alongside
wieso sieht das so aus? Wieso das Omega?
From certain group of dragons.
Weil das Omega halt vergeben ist und da habe ich schon Omega. Also so, ne? Doppeldeutig.
Idiot.
It's a giant zone. There's a lot of surprises. When we're done there, we head over to Aldrazes.
It's really incredible because we'll be going through some of the previous zones and seeing a lot of ruins for the dragon buildings. But when you get to Aldrazes, everything is perfectly intact. It's beautiful. It's pristine. It is the seat of power for all 5 dragonflights and home of the dragons. It feels that way with the huge vertical mountains.
Irgendwelche Gebiete aus Warlords of Draenor. Ja, das auch.
Little dragon hordes. My favorite dragonflight right now is the Bronze. They've got a really cool area in Aldrazes, and their magic is time.
Ja, Warlords of Draenor.
There's so many cool story hooks that we can dig into there. There's so many cool gameplay options, and we have a little bit of an adventure for players. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait. We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdrakken. It is a culmination of all of the dragon's efforts to put together what a city would look like. So we ended up having a bunch of really fun small vignettes where you can see that the blue dragonflight is hosting a public library, and the red and green dragonflights both have their own separate gardens. We'll also have some convenience services for players, including an auction house in the city, which will be really nice if you're looking for more exotic wares. The thing that really sold me on Aldrazes was the initial concept art we got of
Zum ersten Mal seit, glaube ich, es gab's noch nie im neuen Gebiet ein Auktionshaus.
Titan technological marvel. Tierhold has these awesome aqueducts that actually come out from the structure.
In dem neuen Gebiet gab es aus irgendeinem Grund nie Auktionshäuser. Die waren immer in den Hauptstädten sozusagen. Damit da wahrscheinlich mehr Leben ist. Und jetzt haben die endlich in neuen Gebieten ein Auktionshaus reingepackt. Das heißt, du wirst wahrscheinlich keinen großen Grund mehr haben, zurückzugehen. Was gut ist.
Tierhold was built by Tyr. He was a Titan Keeper back in the day who helped the Aspects fight Galakrond. And when they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility. And even though Tyr's gone, the dragons have held him in reverence. But that was 10,000 years ago, and they've let the Titans maintain the place. An incredible amount of history has happened since then. Flights have been nearly wiped out. There have been
Zweite Frau von links sieht sehr angespannt aus.
And these are the kind of things that leave marks on a society. So now they're all back
also nichts dagegen, wenn man gerade sitzt, aber so gerade da sieht es halt nicht so gechillt aus.
We're trying to figure out, how do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this is a really convenient place for players to go and go shopping, as they tend to do.
So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles.
It's so cool. As a player, you probably don't have your own dragon wings. You are going to learn the art of dragon riding. It's so vertical, and I'm just excited to like dive off the tops of towers.
Sag mir bitte nicht, dass du als Drachenrasse Drachen fliegen musst und nicht selber fliegen kannst. Bitte nicht, ey. Ja, okay. Okay.
Hi, I'm Jake.
Jetzt kommt die neue Rasse, mal sehen.
And I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about the Dracthyr
Sieht der zweite von rechts aus wie Tom Holland ein bisschen.
We're here to talk
Findest du?
about not only the evoker,
Weit
but
ein bisschen,
also
ja.
dragon riding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed expansion, we wanted to let you play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alexstrasza size. That'd be tough to fit into raids. I'm sorry, Jake. Okay. I know.
Fine.
But a draconic humanoid. So the Dracthyr, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the Horde or Alliance side on character creation.
So let's talk a little bit about the evoker, the class they can be. What's unique about it is because the Dracthyr are created by an aspect, they have the ability to wield the magic of all 5 Dragonflights. So evokers can take advantage of red magic and blue magic and bronze magic.
And to show that, we created a visual, what we call a prismatic effect. This prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that they're going to cast. You have a red magic spell called Pyre, so when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them.
I'll take that one.
Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure that each specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different colors gets a bit messy. So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, Devastation, mostly focuses on red and blue magic. Red being very fast and explosive, burning everything with Pyre, whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to disintegrate one single enemy in front of you.
There's a healer spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green and your bronze magic. So your green is going to be evocative of the Emerald Dream, your growth and your nurturing spells. And then you have your bronze magic, which is going to be more timey-wimey. So you get to heal a wound faster.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation, which all make you feel very powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the cast. We have a new type of spell called Empower, where when you actually hold down the button on your keyboard, it charges up the spell. The longer you charge it up, it might do more damage or hit more targets depending on the spell, but it gives you this really physical connection and control that's new for World of Warcraft and I think is feeling really, really good.
We have some great animations. Thank you, Andy.
Love it, Andy.
You feel physical when you're casting your spells.
You can actually fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining fire and death from above. It's great.
In addition to the gameplay, though, another part of feeling
Es gibt eine neue Rasse, so ein
We
Halbdrachen.
talk about dragons breathing fire, but you know what's actually fire?
What's actually
These
fire?
customizations.
Oh my goodness.
But no, they're really, really
They're
cool.
awesome.
Mann, ey,
Because you have
die.
both your draconic form and your humanoid
Guck.
form. And the customization options for both of them are
Ich finde, die sehen komisch aus.
What about color?
Ich wusste, du würdest die gut finden, deswegen habe ich dir gesagt.
You can do a lot of matching. So your Visage form can have scales that are the same color as your Dracthyr form.
But my favorite,
Ja,
super
diese
favorite
heißen
part
Worgen.
of customization for the Visage
Das ist es, die sehen halt super worgenmäßig aus.
Yeah.
Das ist dieses
I can
Kräuselding.
actually do this in game.
As players make their way through each of the areas of the Dragon Isles, they'll partner
Nee.
up with the Dragonflights to move through
Also
the
ich muss dir
air as
sagen,
they've never done
die erzählen
before.
wieder
You'll
sehr
notice I
viele
did
Dinge,
not
die
say
sie schon sehr oft erzählt haben
because
und
flight has a very specific
sehr oft
meaning
versprochen haben und
and we're talking about something new
ja, ne?
called dragon riding.
And as the players
Die
are
klingen
honing their
cool in
dragon
der
riding
Theorie
skills, you're gonna get
alles,
to see
aber
all new animations that go along with the different look and feel of the drakes.
We're aiming to
Ich warte, bis
shake
das
up
Add-on raus
movement
ist und
with this new
eine
system,
Meinung da
providing
ist.
players with a deeper immersion with forces like momentum and gravity.
We knew that for Dragonflight, we were going to have the opportunity to show players a whole new set of Dragon Isle Drakes, completely unique
Oh, sie schläft.
from all the other things they've
Einfach.
seen in World of Warcraft. And so we wanted to come up with a movement system that would add that sense of physics, weight, and gravity, like you were
Weiß ich grad
mentioning.
nicht.
We knew it was going to take
Aber es ist
a
gerade echt
huge
langweilig
team
geworden, muss ich
effort,
sagen.
not just animation, but it was going to take effects. It was going to take the engineering team, who we rely on heavily, and that combined with some new animations really helps to lend that feeling of physics as you move through the air in ways that you haven't before. And the icing on the cake is going to be some really cool effects that we've added on top of all of that. So for example, when you start
Was aber
hitting,
cool ist,
maximum velocity, you're going to see
die haben
contrails
sich
coming off the edges of the wings.
ein System ausgedacht, was, also es wird so ein Drachenfliegen geben. Nicht ein normales Fliegen, sondern so spezielles Drachenfliegen. Und wenn du runterfällst, dass du halt so einen Sturzflug gehst und sowas und so einen Speedboost hast und all so ein Zeugs. Und in Kombination dazu wirst du einen Drachen haben, den du über die Dauer customized. Das heißt, du wirst deinen ganz eigenen Drachen haben, der sein ganz eigenes Aussehen hat sozusagen. Ja, genau, so petmäßig, aber schon so mehr Hardcore. Jetzt sehen wir hier gerade, wo haben die gerade so gezeigt mit Rüstung und sowas. Also du wirst schon deinen eigenen wirklichen Drachen, dein eigenes Mount gestalten können, sage ich mal. Wie tief das System dann sein wird, ist dann eine andere Frage. Und es sieht interessant aus, aber wieder, wie gesagt, es ist kein Grund, das Game anzufangen.
I'm just so excited for all of them.
I'm excited for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to work on, but I can't wait to actually get in the game, play it with you guys.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fly around Dragon Isles. It's gonna be great.
Next up, you're going to hear about the talent revamp and the UI changes coming in Dragonflight.
Okay. Schade, dass sie kein neues Leveling-System einführen für Dings.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Laura. We are very excited to share you're finally revamping the WoW HUD UI.
And it is also time
für die neuen Spieler und so.
I have a big question for the group. How long do you think it took for us to finally revamp the WoW HUD?
My guess is like 15 years.
Close, 18 years.
18 years.
Wow.
You know, technology has changed a lot since we made the UI.
Der Typ ganz recht sieht irgendwie an Swiftie mit seinen Haaren.
Bigger monitors and us, we have better tools to work with. So it makes sense to have the revamp right now. Also, if you look at the game today, the art evolved beautifully over the years. And if you look at the HUD looks like it got frozen in time.
So when we approached this, we wanted to create a layout experience that players could customize, move things around, adjust it to fit their needs.
Add-ons today, they do a lot for player customization.
The downside is that not everybody uses them. It's about time that everybody has the opportunity to use them, that they become a part of the base UI.
Yeah, and we are working very closely with our user research team to make sure we are hitting the goals that our player needs.
It allowed us to add new functionality, to improve accessibility in a lot of areas, and on top of that, we are going to be improving the art.
Yeah, so the art update, it's a big part of this project. The UI that we have today has a lot of charm and personality, and players have been using that.
Ach so, ich merke das erst jetzt. Sie hat einen ganz leichten osteuropäischen Akzent, aber extrem leicht, dass ich es überhaupt nicht gemerkt habe. Erst bei Update.
And giving more visibility for your gameplay. So the new minimap, it looks bigger, and the health bar is also much bigger. If you look at the action bars and the bottom menus, they have less head frames.
Ja, sie hat wirklich einen osteuropäischen Akzent.
Ne, aber extrem leicht. Das habe ich. Sowas habe ich noch nie gehört. Du merkst echt, sie hat richtig stark an ihrem Englisch gearbeitet, aber sie hat es nicht komplett rausgekriegt. Und es ist so subtil. Sowas habe ich noch nie gehört, noch nie. Super interessant. Wie gesagt, sie hat die ganze Zeit gesprochen, ich habe es überhaupt nicht gemerkt und irgendwann hat sie ganz leicht gesagt, Update und nicht Update. Und dann dachte ich so, hä, Update? Und dann habe ich es erst gehört. Extrem, also sowas habe ich nie erlebt. Lustig.
Das ist aber auch mal Updates mit geschrieben mit U wird irgendwie mit A ausgesprochen.
Ach, hör auf, es gibt noch viel mehr solche Sachen, Alter. Erzähl ich dir mal später. Was ist?
Ob das schwer ist.
Nee. Also, it'll remember which spec you're in. So, if you're someone who jumps around a lot, as you switch, it will switch to whatever HUD layout you have for that spec.
This is an ongoing project. We're going to keep working on it. So we really want to hear back from you.
A project that we're all excited about that we've been collaborating a lot on is something that's pretty UI intensive, and that's the talent system.
It hadn't changed in a long time, like you said before, and we really started with how can we have players have more choice over what their character has?
As you level up, we give you a new spell or a new ability, something that kind of makes you stronger, but it's determined by the designers. We decide the order.
Yeah, we started looking for a system that would give players a
Ich sehe das nicht. Ich sehe das nicht mit dem Talentsystem, ganz ehrlich.
What we really returned back to was the idea of trees. But it's actually two trees. We have a class tree that offer different class utility.
Das ist cool,
and then we have a spec tree.
Aber ich sehe das nicht. Vor allem über die nächsten Add-ons hinweg.
I personally am super excited about having trees come back. There's a big nostalgia.
Brennt da hinten was?
As we said, we have these two trees because we feel like Picking a specialization is a really important part of
Ja, das war vorher nicht da. Warum ist es da? Ich dachte, es sieht aus, als hätte es irgendwo angefangen zu brennen.
When you choose that, it kind of affects the tree in some way.
Yeah, as soon as you open your talent tree, you'll see something new.
Vielleicht ist es der damalige CEO, der irgendwelche
some abilities filled out for free, just kind of starting you off in that spec you've chosen. You'll have your first point to spend in the class tree, which could be something related to that spec or role, or it could be something from elsewhere in the class.
There's a lot of things that we can do here, and part of that is encouraging players to perhaps make combinations that they've never really been able to see in the game before. This is an opportunity to put a lot more art and fantasy in the actual talent UI itself.
You have seen that a lot through most recent expansions, but not at the base UI.
We want you to
Das ist unglaublich, wie leicht dieser Akzent ist. Das fasziniert mich richtig.
Not necessarily have to commit. The power really is coming back to the player. It's not something we want people to feel locked into, and so one of the things that we're preserving.
Ja, ist nicht.
It's the same kind of frequency.
Müsstest du neuer selbst gucken.
Yeah, the old school players, when you see trees this time, just think, yeah, I'll go from my raid night to my arena match and figure out what I think is the best for both of those.
And that's a process we want to make really fluid. So we're building a save load feature that lets you create your build, name it, save it, and then load it up very quickly.
Warte.
Talents were really about the breadth of options. We've made all these different cool things over the years, but when are they at their coolest? It's when players can hold the building blocks of what can make up their class, their spec, and put them together in a way that works for them.
So these are really cool features that we've been working long and hard on, and we're very excited about them. And it's just an early preview of the things we've been doing. We can't wait to see the reaction that you have to them, and please reach out to us and let us know your thoughts on them. And next up, we're going to talk about professions in Dragonflight.
Der Typ erinnert mich an Swifty, so lustig.
Hi, I'm Joanna.
And I'm Eric, and we're going to talk about our plans for professions in Dragonflight. Professions have been a staple of World of Warcraft forever, and they've seen lots of really cool incremental.
Ich sehe das auch nicht mit den Professions. Das haben die auch so oft schon gesagt, so von wegen so, ja, Professions in den Vordergrund, bla 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 und
We really want to make sure that professions feel fun and relevant across all levels of gameplay.
That brings us to our first update, something that we're calling crafting orders. If you want to have something crafted for you, but you don't have the skill or the right profession to do it for yourself, you can have it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted, pick the one you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents needed for the recipe, including ones that only you can get your hands on. You can find someone in person to do it right in front of you for you, or you can also go to an NPC and using an auction house-like interface, send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the order to anyone, sort of a public order, or do you want to only send it to your guild, or to a specific other player? Maybe it's a friend who you know will be able to craft the item really well for you.
If you are really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this is the item you had crafted can also be soul-bound. In the past, you could only get your hands on crafted soul-bound items by having that profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted, which is really neat and really expands the number of items that we can provide that are really powerful because everyone can have them crafted through the crafting order system.
This is also really cool because it means as a crafter, you can start building your client base. People are going to come back to you to get certain items. Maybe you're the best at making it, or you always throw in a little something extra. You're also going to be leveling up your profession. It's going to be really great.
So the first time you go to craft, you're going to notice a lot of different things, but probably the biggest is the introduction of quality, both to your crafted items and your gathered reagents. Quality works in a pretty simple way.
Aus Final Fantasy genommen.
Higher quality, it's just going to be better. For a piece of gear, that probably means a higher item level. If it's, for instance, a potion, that might mean a more powerful effect at a higher quality.
And we're doing a lot of new things in the UI. We've put a lot of work into it to make sure that the professions feel really special and unique.
And another thing you might notice in the crafting UI that's new is the introduction of stats, specifically to your professions, both crafting and gathering. And this is another sort of major input into quality. Probably the biggest source of your ability to craft items at a higher quality is through crafting specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the past, as far back as original World of Warcraft. With Dragonflight, you can go out and earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways.
Das gab es auch schon und wurde auch schon wieder eingeführt und das gab es am Anfang, dann wurde es irgendwann wieder eingeführt. Ja, du spezialisierst dich und dann war es wieder weg und jetzt ist es wieder da.
You might decide that first you want to become an armor smith. And the more points you spend in armor smithing, the better you're going to get at crafting all armor.
This also means that if you specialize one way, other people in your guild may specialize in a completely different path. So this means that your guild could have several top blacksmiths and everybody is providing something unique and valuable to the team, which is really cool.
Now that reminds me of another update. We're actually adding crafting tables to all the different crafting professions. We're going to take those and we're going to put them all in the main city of Valdrakken. And you're going to go in there and you're going to get to see all the different players crafting their items at their cool crafting tables.
Yeah, it means you're going to walk into the city and you're going to see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're going to see all these blacksmiths over by the forge. There will be other players filling orders or grabbing orders.
Hä, ist es doch schon immer so gewesen, dass du zu einem Amboss gehen musst und sowas?
Seems like a much more lively area than it has in the past.
What I'm most excited about though is the gear. We're introducing new types of gear for every profession.
Ja.
And when you go to, say, mining node, you're actually going to just switch into that gear. It's going to be really great.
You're not going to have to carry that stuff around in your backpack anymore. There's actually going to be dedicated slots for each of your pieces of gear. But I'm a numbers guy. I love progressing. All pieces of profession gear will have those special stats that we mentioned before on them. And as you get your hands on better versions of the gear, it's really going to help you get better at your profession.
I can't wait.
Thank you for tuning in to the Dragonflight Deep Dive.
You've heard a lot about the content and changes coming in Dragonflight, and we've got a lot more in store for you in the coming months.
Until then, we'll see you in Azeroth.
Mega fettes Meh. Viele Versprechen, viel Gequatsche. Ja, wir werden listenen, werden uns ändern, bla bla bla. Das Wiedereinführen von Systemen, die sie rausgenommen haben, die niemand raushaben wollte. Und also ich persönlich, ich sehe es nicht. Ich sehe irgendwie wieder genau das gleiche wie vorher. Und das Einzige, was ich halt ändern könnte, ist halt wirklich das Gameplay im Sinne von, dass man keine Hausaufgaben mehr groß machen muss. Dann wäre das Game meiner Meinung nach wieder worth it und man könnte es spielen. Und dann wäre ich auch dabei. Aber das sieht man halt alles, glaube ich, erst sehr viel später. Ja. Also ich mache mir persönlich, also ich habe mir keine Hoffnung gemacht. Also ich habe Hoffnung, dass ich irgendwann das Game wieder zocken kann und mir denke, okay, cool, ne? Und ich hatte die Hoffnung, dass ich so ein bisschen dass mir Hoffnung gegeben wird, sozusagen, mit diesem Expansion Reveal. Aber das hat's halt einfach überhaupt nicht. Das halt leider überhaupt nicht und es wird einfach sozusagen für mich dabei bleiben, was es ist und ja. Wenn es sich ändert, cool, let's go. Glaube ich, dass es sich ändert? Nein. Freue ich mich, wenn es sich ändert? Ja. Aber I ain't seen happening. I ain't see it happening. Deswegen bin ich ziemlich froh, dass ich da jetzt schon seit einer ganzen Weile nicht mehr dabei bin. Schade, aber it is what it is.